I started off with a short before video so that I can use it on TikTok when I'm showing my before and after transition. Hi, beautiful people, it's Fabulous Rosie here, and today I'll be showing you guys a snippet of my get ready with me process. So, I started off with gluing down my stocking cap. Now, a lot of people glue down their wigs directly on their hairline, but I do not like that. I always like to have a stocking cap between my wigs, or even when I'm doing for my clients, because I'm a wig stylist. So when I'm doing for my clients or for myself, I always like to have a stocking cap in between. So after gluing down the stocking cap, I'm just using baby wipes to clean off the hairline and around the ears, just to make sure that there's no residue or oils or anything that's going to hinder the adherence of the glue on my skin and the lace wig as well. So I'm using the spatula side of my edge brush to just spread the glue around, and I grab my blow dryer and held it between my laps so that I have air constantly blowing along my hairline to help the glue to dry out faster. At this point in time, I was already very late. I was really late, not very late, but I was really late. I think I don't remember the time exactly, but I think it was sometime around 12 p.m. And I was really late and I had to work on a client and then, finish up with my mom before going. I was actually getting ready for a wedding. So I just had to, show up looking glammed, got to represent the brand. Ooh, that matched, that rhymed. Okay. All right, so I'm just going in with the glue. I think I did about 4 or 5 layers of the glue. I didn't want it to hold for too long. The wedding was on Saturday, and I wanted to use the install for the next day on Sunday. Then I take it off. So I didn't want to do too many layers and, give it too much of a crazy hold. So I did about 4 layers, and then I went in with my wig. Now this week I have been installing, so I didn't need to, measure it out or anything. Like, it's my wig and I've installed it a couple of times already, so it just made the process a bit easier. Because if it was a new wig, I would need to go in to cut off the excess lace and all that. That's just a longer process. So I just decided to add in one more layer of glue because the other layer had dried a little too much for the wig to hold on to it. So I just added one more layer of glue and spread it around. Then I went in with my lace. Now you just want to be careful that you do not put too much glue on one spot. You want to spread the glue around, like to have it as thin as possible so that it dries faster. If you put a chunk of glue on one spot, it's going to give it a whitish look. And I know this because, like I said, I'm a wig stylist and I've had some experience, so that's one of the things I noticed. So you just want to make sure you spread your glue around to have thin layers, okay? And make sure each layer dries up before you put in the next. That's a little tip for you. So I'm just going in to place my wig down and just making sure that there's no hair in the way. The ear tabs were a little bit too long because I used to wear this as a glueless. Alright, so at this point, since I was installing, the ear tabs were a little too long, so I just had to cut it off so that it gives a cleaner look, because I don't want no baby hair. I really don't like doing baby hair for my wigs, so I just had to make sure that it fit properly and on the right spot from ear to ear. So I just made sure that that sat right. Then I came over to the other side, pulled it, just played or moved it around, and made sure that it was on the right spot where I wanted it to be. Then this part was a little bit too dry, so I just left it to come back to it a little later. Next thing, I'm just grabbing a rattle comb to press that lace into the glue. All right, so I'm just doing that forward combing to get all the hair away from the glue. Like, I don't want any hair to mess up that hairline, even though it really didn't come out as neat, as spectacular as I would have wanted it, to. Well, it's just because I was really in a rush and I didn't have the time to get everything as I would have loved it. But then it still came out cute, and it served for what I wanted it to. So I had no issues with that. So I'm just adding a little bit more glue along around the ears to make sure that it was stuck on there. All right. So just be diligent with your glue and place your wig down. Use your rattle comb. I remember I still have my dryer. I have a dryer between my laps, so the hair is getting dried, or the glue is getting dried as I move along. Now I'm just applying a little bit of glue on my nail because I wanted it to be closed. I don't want to have to grab the bottle every time. And I have a little thing I used to put glue on for this part, but like I said, I was already in a rush. I was already late and I was in a rush, so I don't want to go looking for it. So I just placed the glue on my nail, and then glued down any parts of the lace that was lifting or that hadn't been glued already. So I'm just making sure that everything is nice and clean. And once I was satisfied with how it looked, I just went in with my melting band and tied it down so that it could get melted or get stuck on there. And this week, I really didn't need to do anything much. I already did all the work before getting the wig on. I did the hot comb, I did the flat ironing, and everything else I needed to be done. So at this point, I was just feeling the hair a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm making progress. So, yes, I didn't really have time to make a video of everything because, like I said, I was late, but this is the final look. I did the makeup off camera, and yes, so this is how I pulled up for the wedding. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Rate me 1-10. What you think? All right, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.